Hey there, adventurers of the mind. Ever felt like you're on an emotional roller coaster, not by choice, but because someone else is pulling the levers? That sinking feeling in your gut when you say yes to something you dread, just because you can't bear the thought of letting someone down? That's the invisible puppeteer of emotional blackmail at work. It's a master of disguise, lurking in the shadows of our relationships, waiting to pounce with its strings of guilt and obligation. But fear not. We're about to shine a spotlight on this sneaky saboteur and snatch back the control. Are you ready to become the master of your own emotional destiny? Let's embark on this journey together and unravel the tangled web of emotional blackmail. Buckle up, because this ride's about to get real. All right, let's break it down. Emotional blackmail is like that sneaky villain in a horror movie. You never see it coming until it's too late. It's the do this for me or else that hangs in the air, heavier than a storm cloud. It's the silent pressure that turns your no into a reluctant yes. The invisible chains that bind your will to someone else's whims. It's a psychological shakedown, and we're all potential targets. But here's the twist. Once you spot the monster, it loses its power. So, let's turn on the lights together and expose this beast for what it really is, a shadow that can't stand the glare of our awareness. Are you ready to call its bluff? Let's do this. Gather round, folks, for a tale of intrigue and manipulation that winds its way through the tapestry of European history. Our story begins with Catherine de' Medici, a woman whose name is synonymous with power and emotional chess. Born into Italian nobility and wed to King Henry II of France, Catherine was a master of the art of influence, her life a testament to the power of emotional manipulation. Catherine arrived at the French court as a young bride, stepping into a world where emotions were pawns and hearts were for the taking. She watched and learned as her husband and his father, Francois I, navigated the treacherous waters of courtly politics. But it was after Henri's untimely death that Catherine's true prowess emerged. As a widow, Catherine found herself the queen mother to young kings, her sons, who would shape the future of France. It was here in the delicate dance of power that she wielded her most potent weapon, emotional manipulation. She penned letters not just as a mother's advice, but as historical scripts, painting her late husband and his father as larger-than-life figures whose legacies her sons must uphold. Catherine's letters were masterpieces of persuasion, each word carefully chosen to tug at the heartstrings of her royal offspring. She invoked the glory of the past, the weight of their ancestors' crowns, and the eyes of the future upon them. Her missives were not mere words. They were emotional spells cast to bind her sons to her will. The French court became Catherine's chessboard, where she moved bishops and knights with the subtlest of pressures. She knew the power of a well-placed sigh, the implication of a lingering glance, the command hidden in a gentle touch. Her influence was not loud or brash. It was the whisper in the dark, the soft nudge at the crossroads. Catherine's legacy is a complex web of political savvy and emotional control. Her life is a testament to the power of understanding the human heart and using it to one's advantage. She was a queen who ruled not by decree, but by the invisible threads of emotion. A puppeteer whose marionettes were kings and nobles. As we look back on Catherine's story, we see the echoes of emotional blackmail that resonate through the ages. It's a reminder that the human heart has always been a battlefield, and those who understand its workings can claim victory without ever drawing a sword. So, what does this mean for us, here and now? It means that the lessons of the past are still relevant. It means that emotional manipulation is not a relic of history. It's a living, breathing part of our present. And it means that we, like Catherine's sons, must learn to see the strings that seek to bind us and choose whether to dance to their tune or cut them loose and forge our own path. Catherine de' Medici's story is not just a historical tale, it's a mirror held up to our own lives. It challenges us to ask, how are we being influenced by the unseen forces of emotion? And how can we take control of our own narrative, just as Catherine sought to control the narrative of an entire kingdom? In the end, Catherine's story is a powerful reminder that while we may not sit on thrones or command nations, we are all rulers of our own inner kingdoms. And in those realms, the most powerful force is not fear or obligation, but the strength of our own will and the courage to wield it wisely. So let's take a page from Catherine's book, not to manipulate, but to understand, to see the emotional undercurrents that guide our decisions and to navigate them with wisdom and grace. For in the end, the true power lies not in the hands of those who would manipulate us, but in our own hands as we write the stories of our lives with clear eyes and full hearts. Let's zoom in on the here and now, where emotional blackmail isn't just a relic of history. It's alive and kicking in our everyday lives. It's the silent alarm that goes off when your friend guilt trips you into a favor, or the invisible tug on your heartstrings when a loved one says, "If you really cared, you'd do this." Imagine this. Your phone buzzes with a message from a friend. "Hey, I need a huge favor. You're the only one I can count on." Your heart sinks. You've got plans, but there's that word, only, making you feel like a superhero in a world of sidekicks. It's a classic move in the emotional heist playbook, making you the hero in a crisis. Well, isn't really a crisis, or picture your partner, the love of your life. Who knows just how to push your buttons? If you loved me, you wouldn't go out with your friends tonight. Suddenly, you're not just choosing between a night out and a night in. You're choosing between proving your love and being labeled as uncaring. It's emotional blackmail with a side of romance, served cold. And let's not forget the workplace, where ambition and manipulation often share a cubicle. Your boss drops by, casual as can be, and says, "I really need this project done by tomorrow. I'd hate to have to ask someone else." There it is, the subtle threat wrapped in velvet, making you question your worth and your place on the team. Family gatherings, too, are ripe for emotional shakedowns. "When are you going to settle down and give us grandkids?" asks a well-meaning relative. It's not just a question, it's a loaded gun pointed at your life choices with every answer but soon feeling like a misfire. And in the age of social media, emotional blackmail has found a new playground. "Didn't see you like my last post. Thought we were friends?" reads a message from an acquaintance. It's not just a like, it's a loyalty test. A digital thumbs up turned emotional currency. But here's the good news. You've got the ultimate weapon against emotional blackmail, and it's been in your arsenal all along. It's the power of no. That simple two-letter word is your shield against the guilt trips, the manipulations, the silent demands. It's your declaration of independence, your battle cry in the fight for emotional autonomy. So, the next time you feel the pull of emotional blackmail, remember this. You are stronger than the strings that seek to bind you. You have the right to your feelings, your choices, your life. And when you stand firm in that knowledge, when you exercise your right to say no, you're not just defending yourself, you're reclaiming your power. Emotional blackmail is a shadow that shrinks in the light of awareness. It's a game that can't be played if you refuse to be a player. So, let's step out of the shadows and into the light, where our emotions are our own and our lives are our masterpiece. All right, let's get into the heart of empowerment. Emotional blackmail is like a dark cloud that can loom over our lives, casting shadows of doubt and fear. But what if I told you that you have the power to dispel that cloud, to break free from the emotional shackles, and stand in the sunlight of your own truth? That's right. It's time to take back control and become the architect of your emotional well-being. You see? Within each of us lies a force more potent than any external pressure. It's the power of self-awareness and choice. It's the ability to recognize when someone is trying to push our buttons and to simply not react. It's the strength to see the strings of manipulation and choose not to be a puppet. Self-respect is your shield. It's knowing that you are worthy of respect, that your feelings matter, and that you don't have to bend to someone else's emotional demands. It's understanding that saying no doesn't make you selfish or uncaring. It makes you self-caring. Emotional blackmail preys on the absence of self-respect. But once you start valuing your feelings and your time, the game changes. You become the gatekeeper of your own life, the master of your fate, the captain of your soul. And that's a journey worth taking, a battle worth fighting. Setting healthy boundaries is your sword. It's the clear lines you draw around your emotional space, the limits you set on how much others can ask of you. It's about knowing where you end and others begin, about understanding that your emotions are your domain and no one else's. It's about drawing a line in the sand and saying, this far and no further. Healthy boundaries are not walls to keep people out. They're gates to let the right ones in. Those who respect and honor your emotional autonomy. Your values are your compass. They guide you through the fog of emotional manipulation, helping you stay true to your course. When you're clear on what matters most to you, no amount of guilt tripping can steer you off track. Support is your anchor. It's the friends, family, or professionals who provide a listening ear and a helping hand. They remind you that you're not alone, that it's okay to ask for help, and that standing up for yourself is a sign of strength, not weakness. Effective communication is your map. It's expressing your needs and feelings openly and honestly, without fear of retribution. It's having those tough conversations with grace and assertiveness, not aggression or passivity. This journey of empowerment is not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's a process of growth, of learning and unlearning, of building up your emotional muscles one day at a time. It's about celebrating the small victories and learning from the setbacks. The destination? Freedom. The freedom to live a life unburdened by the weight of others' expectations. The freedom to make choices that align with your inner truth. The freedom to be authentically you. And as you walk this path of empowerment, you leave a legacy. You become a beacon of light for others, showing them that it's possible to live a life free from emotional blackmail. You inspire them to embark on their own journeys of self-discovery and liberation. So, my fellow travelers, let's rise above the storm of emotional blackmail. Let's embrace our inner power, wield our tools of self-respect, healthy boundaries, values, support, and communication, and chart a course toward a horizon of emotional freedom. Let's empower ourselves and each other, and in doing so, transform the very fabric of our relationships. And remember, you are the hero of your story, the master of your emotions, and the creator of your destiny. Stand tall, stand strong, and stand empowered. So, what's your story? Have you faced emotional blackmail? Drop a comment, share your journey. If this video struck a chord, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring that bell. Don't miss out on our next deep dive. Until then, keep your healthy boundaries strong, and most importantly, keep being you. See you next time.